Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Wise Dragon 2012, and today I'm coming to talk to you about the history of the Boy Scouts of America's ban on gays, about a recent Eagle Scout by the name of Pascal Tessier and the press that he's been getting, and kind of the overall implications it has for the Boy Scouts of America. This is an issue that's very near and dear to my heart as an Eagle Scout, as a Vigilante member of Scouting Honor Society, and as a scout who also happens to be gay. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First and foremost, it's important for people to know that the largest supporter, both in terms of membership and financial contribution to the Boy Scouts of America, is the Church of Latter-day Saints and has been that way since 1913 as one of the BSA's first very official partners. Um, so they've been together for 101 years, basically, as the BSA is only 104 years old. Uh, Now, everything was fine and sailing smooth for about 60 years. And then in the 1970s, the leadership of the Church of the Latter-day Saints said, hey, you know, we don't really like gays, and we should make sure that we put an effective ban on allowing gays into the Boy Scouts of America, because in their ideal, the Boy Scouts was a Christian organization and should be treated as such. Now, it's important to note that prior to that 1970s policy, there was no policy regarding the inclusion or exclusion of gays in the scouting program. So it wasn't until that key moment in the 1970s that the BSA decided to act. And for a long time, people stood in support of that policy. I mean, there was some opposition to it, but for the most part, it was a widely supported policy. And it soon kind of faded out of mind. Fast forward to 2000, to the year 2000. And here we are in the year 2000, and the BSA gets challenged on their policy discriminating against openly homosexual individuals. And the Supreme Court, the ultimate law of the land here in the United States, ruled that as a private organization, the BSA has the right to association and to determine who its members will and won't be. And the BSA decided that they would reaffirm their policy and not allow homosexuals to participate in the program. Now, that brought a lot of intense scrutiny, and roughly right after that, the BSA lost almost two-thirds of its membership. We went from having 6 million active youth and participating adults down to about 2 million very quickly. And so the BSA, they kind of took it in stride and, continued to stand by their policy as this Christian um, organization standing behind biblical values. Well, we hit to 2010, and in 2010 we have Zachary Walls, the director of Scouts for Equality, get 1 million signatures to go down to the BSA saying that we support a change in the membership policy. We also get companies like AT&T. We also get companies like Intel, who say, you know what, BSA, you're not very inclusive, and that violates our donation policy. So we started losing donors slowly but surely, and eventually the BSA came to the realization that, quite frankly, this is not good. You need money to run a program, and getting donations from big ticket donors like these large corporations makes it a little easier to execute programs. It makes scouting a little more affordable for people who otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it. So in 2012, a policy change was proposed that would completely change the policy and allow both gay youth and adults to participate in the scouting program. But there was some backlash to this, and the way the BSA determined this was that they sent out a survey for people to take. Now, I want to also note here that this survey was not sent to everybody who was registered with the Boy Scouts of America. You had to specifically email them and ask them to be able to get this survey, and then and only then would you get it. So obviously it wasn't open to everybody. But an overwhelming majority said, we really aren't comfortable with having gay adults in the scouting program, but we'll let gay youth be in. So the BSA said in 2013, cool. And at the National Committee meeting in 2013, they effectively lifted the ban starting in 2014. which brings me to Pascal Tessier. And I apologize again if I get the name incorrectly. And this is significant for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, Mr. Pascal Tessier is one of the first openly gay scouts to obtain the rank of Eagle after the change in membership policy. And so, just from a historical standpoint, that's really cool, being one of the first. The second implication is it's going to put the BSA in an awkward position because the BSA prides itself on being the premier youth organization here in the United States of America, and it prides itself immensely on the moral and ethical teachings that it provides to youth. And suddenly now it's saying, well, now at 18, we're not so sure that everything that we've spent the past, 8 years of your life instilling into you is gonna mean anything. And so at 18, you're suddenly immoral again and no longer have any place within the Boy Scouts of America, which I find personally very offensive. And so it's going to be interesting to see, because how is the BSA going to approach the Pascal Tessier situation? Is it going to be similar to the Don't Ask, Don't Tell? Well, we knew you were openly avowed homosexual as a youth, and now you're an adult. Do we know and do we care? Is it going to be at the discretion of the charter organization? It raises a lot of questions. And so I think the biggest significance of this is it puts this issue back in the spotlight, and it reignites the passion of people who are fighting to make the change and bring the BSA into the 21st century, along with the scouts over in the UK and Canada who have had policies allowing open homosexuals for quite some time, and even now in the UK they have a policy that even allows atheists to be scouts in England. So um, it's significant, and I hope that you take away from this that the BSA hasn't always been the ugly monster that it has been, and that it is capable of change slowly, but don't give up on it yet. It's trying. All right, Wise Dragon out.